dare you speak to me like that?
I am sorry.
My name is Amara. Sometimes when I look back at my life, I wonder how I allowed myself to trade peace for luxury. How I became a stranger in my own story just because I wanted to escape poverty. I was born into a humble home, the second of 3 children. My father died when I was 9, leaving my mother to struggle to raise us with the little she earned from selling vegetables in the market. Life wasn't kind to us, but my mother was a strong woman. She would wake before dawn, tie her wrapper, and go out into the cold to buy vegetables from the wholesale market. I used to admire her strength, but I hated seeing her suffer. Every time I saw her wiping sweat from her face under the hot sun, I made a promise to myself I would never live in poverty like this. When I finished secondary school, we didn't have money for university. My mother begged relatives, but none wanted to help. They said education was useless for a girl, that I should learn a trade or find a rich man to marry. I was only 18, but those words sunk deep into my mind. I started believing that maybe marriage was the only way out. My friends used to tease me, saying, "Amara, your beauty will take you far." At first, I didn't take it seriously, but when I looked at myself in the mirror, my smooth, dark skin, bright eyes, and curvy figure, I began to see what they saw. Men always noticed me. Some offered little gifts, some promised heaven, but I had only one goal. I wanted a man who could take me away from struggle. It was one Sunday afternoon that I met Raymond. He drove a black Mercedes-Benz that shone like glass under the sun. He stepped out wearing a neatly pressed suit and expensive wristwatch that caught the light as he moved. I was walking back from church when his car stopped beside me. "Hello, beautiful," he said with a confident smile. His voice was calm and deep, the kind that made you stop and listen. I smiled shyly and greeted him. He asked if he could give me a ride. Normally, I would refuse, but that day, something in me said yes. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was fate. I don't know. He drove me home, and along the way, he asked about my life. I told him about my mother and how things had been hard since my father's death. He nodded sympathetically, then said, "You deserve a better life, Amara. A woman like you shouldn't suffer." Those words melted something inside me. No one had ever said that to me before. When I stepped out of his car, my mother was outside. She looked at him suspiciously, but said nothing. After he left, she pulled me aside and warned me, "My daughter, don't be deceived by flashy things. Some men shine like gold, but are full of darkness." I nodded, but her words didn't stay long in my heart. I was already thinking about the comfort his car represented, the kind of life I had always wanted. Raymond called me that evening. From that day, he never stopped calling. He sent me flowers, gifts, and even gave my mother some money, telling her he wanted to support the family. My mother was hesitant at first, but as the money helped ease our burden, she began to accept him. Within a few months, Raymond asked me to marry him. I was only 19. My friends screamed with envy when they saw the ring, a shining diamond that sparkled under any light. They said I was lucky, that I had hit the jackpot, and I believed them. Before you continue watching, please subscribe to our channel to help us grow. Like and share this video to your friends and family. This might be what they need. And most importantly, hit the notifications bell below so you can be notified whenever we drop a new episode of You Are Not Alone. Our wedding was like a dream. The hall was decorated with gold drapes and white roses. Guests came in large numbers. Some I didn't even know. I wore a long, flowing gown that made me feel like a princess. As I walked down the aisle, I saw my mother wiping tears from her eyes. I thought they were tears of joy, but now I wonder if they were tears of fear. When the priest said, "Do you take Raymond as your lawful husband?" I said yes, without hesitation. I thought I was stepping into a fairy tale. I didn't know I was walking into a prison built with diamonds. The first few weeks of marriage were perfect. Raymond took me on trips, bought me clothes, and showered me with compliments. He told me he wanted me to stop working or thinking about business, that he would take care of everything. I agreed gladly. After all, wasn't that what I wanted? But slowly, things began to change. He started asking who I was talking to whenever my phone rang. If I mentioned a male friend, he frowned. One evening, I told him I wanted to visit my mother. He said, "Why? Don't I provide everything you need here?" I thought he was joking, so I laughed, but his face remained cold. "Amara, you're my wife now. Your home is here. Stop running to your mother every time." That was the first time I felt something tighten inside me. It was subtle, but it stayed. I told myself he just loved me too much. Love I thought was meant to be jealous sometimes, but love should never cage you. I didn't understand that then. Weeks turned into months. Raymond became more possessive. He began choosing what I wore. If I picked a dress he didn't like, he would say, "My wife can't dress like that. You're mine." Sometimes he smiled as he said it, but his tone left no room for argument. Soon, I found myself hiding the clothes I liked, only wearing what pleased him. I stopped seeing my old friends because he said they were bad influences. I deleted my social media because he said married women shouldn't expose themselves. I told myself he was protecting me, but deep down, I knew I was disappearing, piece by piece. One evening, I prepared his favorite meal. He came home looking upset. I asked what was wrong, and he said he had a bad day at work. I tried to comfort him, but when I mentioned something about one of his colleagues, a woman, he suddenly slammed his fist on the table and shouted, "Don't you ever talk about my office again. You don't know anything." I froze. His face was red with anger. I wanted to speak, but fear gripped me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing his voice echoing in my head. The next morning, he apologized and bought me jewelry. He said, "I'm sorry, baby. Work just stressed me out." I accepted his apology because I didn't want to fight. I told myself it was normal. Men get angry sometimes. But it wasn't normal. That was the beginning. After that, he began shouting at me for small things. If the food wasn't hot enough, if I didn't greet him with a smile, if I asked too many questions, he would yell until I cried, then later come to console me with gifts. It became a pattern, pain followed by presence. I started walking on eggshells around him, afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. One day, my mother fell sick and I begged him to let me visit her. He refused. He said, "I'll send money. You don't need to go there." I pleaded, tears in my eyes, but he shouted, "I said no." That night, I cried silently in bed, wondering what kind of marriage I had entered. The walls of our mansion began to feel like a cage. The chandeliers above my head felt like chains. I had everything money could buy, but I no longer had myself. Sometimes I stood before the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. I used to dream of independence, of making my mother proud. Now I was just an ornament in a man's house, dressed in gold but empty inside. Every smile I forced felt like a lie. Every time I told people I was fine, my voice trembled with hidden pain. One afternoon, I was in the garden when one of the maids whispered to me, "Madam, I'm sorry, but I saw Olga with another woman yesterday." My heart stopped. I felt anger rise in me, but I quickly swallowed it. I had no right to question him. He had taken away that voice long ago. When I confronted him gently that night, he laughed coldly. "Don't you ever listen to gossip from servants. You should know your place." His words pierced my chest like a knife. That night, when he touched me, I turned away, but he forced me to face him. He said, "You belong to me." As I lay there, tears slipping down my cheeks, I realized something painful. I had become a prisoner to the very life I once prayed for. My golden cage glittered, but it suffocated me. And yet I stayed because I was afraid of starting over, afraid of shame, afraid of what people would say if they knew the truth. But deep inside, a small voice began to whisper, "Amara, this is not love. This is control." I ignored it for months, pretending everything was fine. But one day, something would happen that would change everything forever. That morning started like every other day, but something in the air felt heavy. Raymond had left early for work without saying goodbye. The silence in the house was thick, and for the first time in a long while, I sat by the window watching the world outside. People laughing, children running, women chatting freely. I wondered what freedom felt like again. I had become a shadow in my own home. I could no longer make decisions without asking for permission. My laughter had become rare, my dreams long buried under fear. I touched the necklace around my neck, a diamond he bought for me on our anniversary, and suddenly it felt like a chain. Later that afternoon, I went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. As I chopped vegetables, I heard my phone ring. I checked it quickly. It was a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I would never answer strange numbers. Raymond had warned me against it, but something urged me to pick up. I answered softly, "Hello?" The voice on the other end sounded panicked. "Madam, it's me, Nurse Chica from St. Mary's Hospital. Your mother has been admitted. She collapsed this morning." My heart nearly stopped. "What? My mother?" I shouted, dropping the knife. My hands trembled. "Please, is she okay?" "She's stable for now, but we need a family member to come." "I'll be there," I said immediately, already grabbing my handbag. But as I reached for the car keys, my hands froze. Raymond had taken the car keys before leaving. I had no access to them. My heart pounded in my chest. I called his number once, twice, 5 times, no answer. Tears filled my eyes. I didn't care anymore. I needed to see my mother. I rushed outside, waving down a taxi. When I reached the hospital, I ran to the reception. "Please, where's patient Madam Nongozi?" I asked breathlessly. The nurse pointed me toward B. My eyes filled with tears when I saw my mother weakly lying on the bed, her face pale. I rushed to her side. "Mama," I whispered, holding her hand. She opened her eyes slowly and smiled faintly. "Amara, my daughter." "Mama, what happened?" She sighed softly. "High blood pressure. I think I've been worrying too much." I felt guilt stab through my chest. I had been so wrapped in my miserable marriage that I hadn't visited her in months. "Mama, I'm sorry. I should have been here." She squeezed my hand weakly. "It's okay, my child. I'm just happy to see you." We talked for a few minutes before her eyes grew heavy. I sat quietly beside her, watching her breathe. For the first time in months, I felt peace, not because of the hospital or the silence, but because I was near love, real love. But my peace was short-lived. My phone started buzzing again. It was Raymond. My hands trembled as I answered. His voice thundered through the speaker. "Where are you, Amara?" "At the hospital, my mother." "You left the house without telling me? Who gave you permission?" "Raymond, please, it was urgent. My mother." "I don't care. I told you never to go anywhere without me." People turned to look as I lowered my voice. "Please calm down. I'll explain when I get home." "Don't bother," he snapped. "You'll regret this." He ended the call. My heart sank. I wanted to cry, but I forced myself to stay calm. I waited until my mother was asleep, then I quietly left the hospital. On the way home, my chest tightened with fear. I knew what was waiting for me. When I entered the house, Raymond was sitting on the couch, his face hard as stone. He didn't speak for a moment, just stared. Then, in a low voice, he asked, "Where were you?" I swallowed hard. "I told you, my mother." Before I could finish, he stood up suddenly and slapped me across the face. I stumbled back, shocked. My ears rang. He had never hit me before. Tears filled my eyes instantly. "Raymond, please." "Do you think you can disobey me?" he roared. "I'm your wife. You do as I say." "I'm sorry," I whispered, holding my cheek. "Please, He turned away, breathing heavily. Then, as if realizing what he'd done, he muttered, "You made me do this. You need to learn respect." He stormed upstairs, leaving me trembling in the living room. I sat on the cold floor for hours, tears falling silently. That night, when I looked at my reflection, my face was swollen, my eyes red. I didn't recognize myself anymore. I thought about leaving, but where would I go? I had no job, no savings, no strength. He had taken everything from me, even my courage. Days passed in silence. Raymond pretended nothing happened. He even bought me a new dress, saying, "Let's move on." But inside, something in me broke completely. I realized love should never make you feel small. I was living in fear, not love. A week later, I went to visit my mother again, this time with his permission. When she saw the faint bruise on my cheek, she frowned. "Amara, what happened?" I forced a smile. "Nothing, Mama. I just fell." She held my hand gently. "You're lying. I know pain when I see it. Tell me, is he hurting you?" Tears welled up in my eyes. I wanted to tell her everything, but the words wouldn't come. I didn't want to break her heart, so I shook my head. "No, Mama, I'm fine." But as I left the hospital, I felt ashamed. I was living a lie, hiding behind expensive clothes and fake smiles. One night, Raymond came home drunk. He stumbled into the house, shouting my name. I rushed to help him, but he pushed me away. "You think you can go behind my back? You think I don't know what you do?" I froze. "What are you talking about?" He grabbed my arm tightly. "You've been talking to other men." "That's not true," I cried. He raised his hand again, and before I could move, he slapped me twice. My head spun. I fell to the ground, crying. He kicked the chair beside me and shouted, "Don't ever make me angry again." Then he stormed out, leaving me shaking on the floor. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the darkness, hugging my knees, listening to the sound of my own breathing. My body ached, but my heart hurt more. I thought about running away, but fear chained me down. I told myself, maybe he'll change. Maybe if I love him more, he'll stop. But deep inside, I knew the truth. Abusers don't change. They just find new ways to break you. Weeks turned to months. The abuse continued, sometimes in words, sometimes in silence. He would ignore me for days, treating me like air. I began to lose weight, my smile fading completely. The housekeeper once whispered, "Madam, you need to leave. This man will destroy you." But I just shook my head. Where will I go? Then one day, something snapped. It was a Sunday morning. I had prepared breakfast, but Raymond didn't come down. When I went upstairs, I heard laughter, a woman's laughter, coming from the bedroom. My heart pounded. I pushed the door open slightly and froze. There he was, lying in bed with another woman. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My body shook uncontrollably. I turned and ran downstairs, my tears blurring everything. He didn't even chase after me. That hurt the most. How little he cared. I spent the whole day sitting on the floor of the living room, my heart shattered. I realized the man I once thought was my savior had become my curse. I remembered my mother's warning. Some men shine like gold, but are full of darkness. Now I understood. When Raymond finally came downstairs in the evening, I confronted him. My voice trembled. "I saw you, Raymond. You cheated on me." He laughed coldly. "And so what? You should be grateful I married you. Without me, you'd still be struggling in the streets." I stared at him, stunned. In that moment, something inside me died. The fear that once kept me silent began to fade. I whispered, "You may own this house, but you don't own me." He turned sharply, his eyes dark with rage. "What did you say?" Before I could repeat it, he slapped me again, harder this time. I fell, hitting my head against the table. Everything went blurry. When I opened my eyes, I was in bed. My head throbbed, and I realized hours had passed. Raymond was gone. My heart raced as I sat up slowly. That was when I knew if I didn't leave one day, I might not wake up again. I stood before the mirror, touching my bruised face. "Amara," I whispered, "you need to live." That night, I packed a small bag with a few clothes and the little cash I had secretly saved from housekeeping allowance. As I tiptoed towards the door, fear gripped me. What if he returned and caught me? But another voice whispered louder, "Run." I opened the door and stepped into the cold night, my heart beating fast. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay. I walked for hours, crying quietly as I moved through the empty streets. My legs ached, my body weak, but my spirit burned with one thought: freedom. The night was dark, and the streetlights flickered weakly as I dragged my small box along the road. My body ached. My eyes were swollen and my feet felt like lead. Every step I took away from that mansion felt like walking out of a nightmare I never thought I'd survive. My dress was torn, my hair scattered, and my mind was blank. All I wanted was peace. I just wanted to feel safe again. Cars passed by, but none stopped. Some drivers slowed down, perhaps out of curiosity, but quickly drove away when they saw the broken woman I had become. I couldn't blame them. If I saw myself then, I might have done the same. I was trembling, lost, and hopeless. Then, a car slowed down and stopped a few feet away. The door opened, and a woman stepped out. She looked to be in her late 40s, dressed modestly, but with a warmth in her eyes that made me want to cry. "My dear, are you okay?" she asked, her voice calm and motherly. I tried to speak, but no words came out, only tears. She walked closer, looked at my shaking hands, then gently took the box from me. "Come, my daughter. You can't stay out here at night. It's dangerous," she said softly. I hesitated for a moment. After all I'd been through, trusting anyone felt like another risk. But something in her voice disarmed me. I nodded slowly. She opened her car door and guided me in. The warmth of the car made me shiver. For the first time in a long time, someone's kindness didn't come with control or condition. She didn't ask me who I was or why I was there. She just drove in silence, occasionally glancing at me with concern. We arrived at her home. A small but peaceful bungalow with flowers by the entrance and light glowing warmly from the windows. Inside smelled of fried plantain and soap, simple, homely scents that made me remember a time when life was not so heavy. She helped me sit down and went to bring water and food. When she returned, she placed them in front of me. "Eat something, my dear," she said. "You look like you haven't eaten in days." At first, I couldn't. My throat was tight and every bite felt like swallowing stones. But her presence was gentle, patient. She didn't pressure me. Slowly, I began to eat, tears falling into the plate. When I finished, she handed me a towel and said, "You can bathe. The bathroom is that way. After that, you'll rest. Tomorrow, we'll talk." That night, as I lay on her couch with a blanket over me, I couldn't sleep. My body was safe, but my soul was in chaos. Everything I thought I wanted had destroyed me. I married a rich man, thinking money would bring happiness, that comfort could fill the holes in my heart. But instead, I found myself in a prison built with gold. The next morning, she came to sit beside me. "You don't need to tell me everything," she began. "But whatever it is, I want you to know you're not alone." That sentence, "you're not alone," broke something inside me. I started to cry again, but this time not from fear, from release. I told her everything, about how I met him, how I thought I was lucky, how love slowly turned to fear. I told her about the insults, the bruises, the control, the silence. I told her how I lost my friends, my dreams, and even my reflection. When I was done, she just held my hands and said, "Amara, you were brave to leave. Many don't make it out. You chose life, and that means you still have hope." She introduced herself as Mama Grace. She was a widow who ran a small catering business from her home. She had once sheltered another woman who escaped abuse, and since then she made it her mission to help anyone who needed refuge. I stayed with her for weeks. During that time, I began to learn what healing truly meant. At first, I was restless. I wanted to get a job quickly, move out, do something to prove I wasn't a failure. But Mama Grace would always tell me, "You can't rebuild with broken hands, my child. Heal first, then you'll build stronger." Some mornings, she would ask me to join her in the kitchen. She'd hand me a knife and say, "Slice these onions, slowly, breathe." It seemed silly at first, but I later understood she was teaching me to be present again, to focus on something small and safe. One evening, Mama Grace sat beside me and said, "You've come far, Amara. What do you want to do next?" I didn't know at first, but then I remembered how lonely I felt in that marriage, how desperate I was for someone to talk to. I said softly, "I want to help other women like me." She smiled. "Then that's what you'll do." With her guidance, I joined a local women's support group. There, I met others who had survived similar things, women from all walks of life. Hearing their stories reminded me that pain doesn't discriminate. Some were educated, some weren't. Some were rich, some poor. But all had one thing in common. They stayed silent too long because society told them endurance was virtue. I began to share my story at meetings, and slowly I found purpose. Every time someone said, "Because of your story, I found courage to leave," my heart grew lighter. I realized my pain wasn't wasted. It had become a bridge for others. Months passed. I saved enough money to rent a small room. Mama Grace cried when I moved out, but they were tears of pride. She said, "You're my daughter now. Don't forget that." Even after leaving, I visited her often. Her home remained a safe haven for anyone lost in the storm of life. Sometimes I would sit outside with her, watching the sunset, and she'd remind me the sun always returns, even after the darkest night. Days turned into weeks. My nightmares became less frequent. I began to smile again, not the forced smile I used to wear for guests at my husband's mansion, but a quiet, honest one. Mama Grace encouraged me to start journaling. I wrote every day, the pain, the memories, the lessons. In those pages, I began to rediscover my own voice. On one fateful day, I told her I want to go and see my mother and I want her to come with me. She agreed. When we got there, my mother hugged me very tight while shedding tears of joy. At that moment, I felt love that I have missed for years. It's been 3 years now. I'm not the same woman I was. I no longer define myself by what I lost, but by what I found: strength, purpose, and self-worth. I learned that healing is not forgetting. It's learning to live without letting the past control you. To anyone listening to my story, I want you to remember this. No amount of luxury, no wealth, no promise of comfort is worth your peace. If you ever find yourself in a place where love hurts, where your voice is silenced, where fear lives in your heart, leave. You deserve safety. You deserve joy. Sometimes we chase what glitters and forget our own light. But the truth is, your worth is not measured by what you have, but by who you are. If you are going through abuse, physical, emotional, or psychological, please speak up. Reach out. Don't wait until it's too late. There are still people like Mama Grace in this world, people who will help even when you think you have no one left. Don't suffer in silence. Don't let shame hold you back. You are not weak for wanting peace. You are strong for choosing it. I married for money, but I lost myself in the process. It took walking away to realize that true wealth is not gold, but freedom. Not diamonds, but dignity. Not mansions, but peace of mind. To every woman listening, if you're in pain, if you feel trapped, if you're scared, remember my story. Remember Mama Grace's words. You can't rebuild with broken hands. Heal first. Life can begin again, even after heartbreak, even after loss. And if you ever forget, please hold on to this truth. You are not alone.